Radical Jack here. We have day 22, exactly one quarter. And yeah, that's nice. It's 22 is 11:11. Um, I've been reminded of 1999 when the eclipse was at 11 minutes past 11 on the 11th of August 1999. Um, Yeah, 22 and 11 are master numbers so in numerology, so you don't add the 2 and 2 or the 1 and 1, which would be 4 or 2. As you would do if something lands on 23, it'd be 2 and 3 is 5, or whatever the case may be. If it was 18, it'd be 8 and 1 is 9. But 22 is master numbers, so you don't add them. So that's 4 22s in 88. This is interesting in itself. I just remembered today as well also that I stopped smoking. Last bit of tobacco I had was last year on the 8th of November. And that's the 8th of the 11th. 8/11s is 88. So here we go again with this constant discovery. I wish I could remember some of the other things, that have come up around numbers because they come up all the time. But this is just one at this moment in time where yeah, it's interesting the synchronicity of events, and yeah, today as well is the 8th of the third, and so yeah, we're on an 8th day today, and yeah, so I'm not gonna lie to you, but there are. I guess it's the more that I'm out and about, which I have been a little bit, the last couple of days, 3-4 days, the more temptation is there. It's not that I've been tempted, but it's just like, oh, that kind of like, if somebody's sitting there eating a steak in front of you, and no offense, my brother, the smell, but it's like. I guess that's it. It's how to break a habit. It's like once it's broken, once you've completely broken it, then it becomes easier and easier to handle yourself. And I guess one of the biggest things about making a change from any kind of diet or whether it's still sticking with meat, it just might be a better diet in some sense. It's the recipes, I guess. It's learning. People cook the most fantastic food sometimes that you could never cook yourself. You might pay an arm and a leg for it at a restaurant and stuff, and be very happy to do that all the time if you can afford it. Fair play, but not everybody can. So, but it is interesting. It's again, it's back to being disciplined, and which is where it's at. So, and of course things get easier and easier, so this is why we stay where we are, because the transition is often it's quite hard. It's quite hard to make that leap, and practice and make the time to practice those recipes in order to be able to come up with the most fantastic food. And I think this is what's missing today as well. We're often we're more motivated to cook when other people are coming round, and we make such a better a more of an effort, for show, for whatever reason, whatever motivates you, but it's true. And so I think if there's less and less than that, less and less of communal living and sharing in that way, then we are generally a slave to habit. We're creatures of habit then, and lone wolf. I've been a lone wolf for a long time. But while in Glastonbury, I was always bringing food around to people, especially stews and soups, because I couldn't make a bloody soup for one person or two, or yeah, it was always a big pot. So I like cooking for people anyway, all the same. But I'm the same. I'm much more motivated by somebody coming around, and I like to put on some flair then, Whereas when you're on your own, you can't be bothered sometimes. So, but anyway, so I'm being reminded by yeah, I wanted to share a story with you, you know, and of some of my time in the run up to Glastonbury, moving there in 2001, and I yeah, I went to the Canary Islands. I'd given up the puppet show, and I had the previous year had 10,000 whistles. You know, whistles was one of my things. You know, I'd go to concerts. I used to follow Take That and the Spice Girls and sell whistles to these children. You know, and teenagers and stuff. You know, I can't imagine what it was like in the arenas or the stadiums, because they all bought a whistle, you know, and you know, I could make like 500 to £1,000, you know, in just one concert, you know, selling whistles. And we had posters and T-shirts then for after or before. Posters and T-shirts were a little bit harder because you're dealing with unofficial merchandise, and you got security chasing you around if you're selling that kind of merchandise outside. You know, they have their official merchandise, which they're trying to make money off, you know. But you know, you get 10,000 teenagers and kids. You know, they want everything that's got to Take That on it. You know, so we made scarves and all sorts of interesting things. You know, and but a lot of the time I just worked for guys. I just sold the stuff. You know, so but the whistles was always something that I had. You know, Notting Hill Carnival was a good one, like New Year's night, and so it being the year 2000, I bought 10,000 whistles with the intention of having a whole team out selling, and this is my attempt at capitalizing on you know, what I'd seen some of the other guys doing, you know, in relation to, you know, the boss man doing up thousands of T-shirts and have other people selling for you, and you know, therefore make extra money. But that never really worked out for me for some reason, you know. I don't know, it just didn't. I was always better off just on my own and just selling what I could sell, and then not having the hassle of dealing with, especially friends. I often brought friends into this picture, and Jesus Christ, they were the worst. They'd lose T-shirts, they'd get caught, you know, they wouldn't sell, or they weren't capable of selling, and you know, trying to retrieve stuff. Then I just went home, you know, and whatever, all sorts of shenanigans, you know. But they were good days, though. They were really good days. I spent a lot of time around Wembley Stadium, and you know, going up and down the country towards you know, a lot of venues and stadiums and stuff, you know. You know, there was an interesting crew, you know, from different parts of the country, you know, who all kind of met up and afterwards at the pubs. And yeah, so it was it was around that time anyway, where yeah, I was kind of making a fair old bit of money, you know, and I almost forgot what I was actually going to say. And no, I have forgotten what I was going to say. I mean, I guess I was getting towards a place where I was telling you a story. Ah, yeah. So the year 2000, I bought 10,000 whistles. So, you know, I'd had the Glastonbury experience and was confident that I was moving to Glastonbury. It was just a matter of time. And I had this, you know, I suppose this will to do it ASAP and stop chasing the dollar. But then I had this, I'd given up the puppet show, and I'd handed it over to a guy, and I said, look, man, I'm giving you this. He always wanted it from me, and it was something that you give to somebody, and you say you don't give it to anybody else. You keep this to yourself, you know. Otherwise, you're asking for trouble. There's a reason behind that. I'll explain that one other day. But it's something that I'd kind of given away, given up, and I'd move into Glastonbury. And now I was suddenly overcome with the I do need a few grand for a deposit for a place and da da da. So I remembered I had the whistles, and I thought, okay, I'll do that. And you know, it all went west. I brought four guys with me to London, and we went to Trafalgar Square, and I'd booked tickets to the Return to the Source, and which there was a fantastic after party, and yeah, it was really special, you know. But we made no money, and so I had to go into all my reserves, which was about £1,200, and give the guys a good time, and you know, that was just the way that it went. I'd been out selling diaries, and no, it was calendars more, that I picked up on the cheap. And so I was working Camden Town, and just a big spread outside shops that weren't open, you know, of all the calendars, you know, $3.99 a pop, you know. And yeah, I ended up getting really cold over you know, the kind of winter, and thinking to myself, okay, I'm moving to Glastonbury, I'm trying to get this deposit money and stuff, and then one day I was just so cold, I just went, you know what, I need to get some sun. So I just need a break in the sun before I move to Glastonbury. And I remember meeting a guy on the street, and he's gone, oh, how do I get into this kind of fly pitching stuff? And I says, just like this, brother, how would you like to take on this stall, yeah? And he said, what do you mean? You know, I said, well, yeah, there's probably about 1,200, 1,500 pounds worth of stock here. Would you like it? And he was like, what? I just give it to him. I said, it's yours, you know. And I don't know what happened to that guy, but I have a habit of doing things like that. This guy could be a billionaire by now, for all we know. But anyway, that was right outside Camden Tube Station, and I went to the estate agents. I think about a 500 quid, if that. Bought myself a ticket to the Gran Canaria, and I went out to the Gran Canaria for 10 days. And then I had this kind of you know, I was having this awakening, you know, and someone had told me it was the island of the lungs, and of course I'd stopped smoking again, and I was walking up and down the sand dunes in Playa de Inglés, and you know, catching the sun and the sea and the water, and just, you know, buffets and stuff, and you know, yeah, it was a pretty cheap holiday, you know, and it was pretty cool, like, you know, and had a couple of nights in of kind of a place, like apartment, you know, I got on the cheap, and so I'd found this cave, and I thought, wow, I could live in this cave, it's free, you know, but I was kind of, I was in this kind of state of confusion, you know. I'd met this Spanish dude during the puppet days, and you know, he talked about Galicia and how green the north of Spain was, and it was like Ireland and Gaelic almost, you know, and red-haired people. I was like, I'd like to go and check out Spain, you know. Still had the sunshine as well, and so there was that. And then there was this kind of like, go back to Ireland or go to Glastonbury, as was the plan. And during that confusion, then I just thought, right, okay, I wrote down the 4 things on 4 different pieces of paper. 1 go to Glastonbury, 1 stay here, 1 go to Ireland, 1 go to Spain. And I threw them up in the air, and I caught one. And it was like, go to Glastonbury. 4 times it said go to Glastonbury, so it was unanimous. And so I went to Glastonbury. And that was the beginning of my Glastonbury experience, which was 2001. 2nd of February, in bulk, to some people, Bridget's Day, you know. And yeah, so what happened was I'd met various characters over the times of being a pilgrim, and I was staying in a house, Laura, Arisha, you know, and Rare met for the first time. They got some beautiful kids, lots of love to you guys, 4 beautiful kids now, and wow, that was like 17, 18 years ago. It's amazing. Yeah, I've been kind of smoking pot and getting a bit paranoid and a bit like trying to fit in, and wasn't really getting anywhere. And I was a little bit like disappointed with myself, because the plan was to go to Glastonbury and take a year out for music and really learn how to play guitar. And I'd seen so many creative people. I thought I could learn a lot here, you know. And it had the springs, and you know, the Tor for the sunrise, the sunset, and you know, it had organic food and a really good health food shop, and you know, it ticked all the boxes, you know. And that was the thing, you know. I was like, I put myself down for a housing association, and I'd been in this place for 3 months, and then suddenly I'm like, on the 9th of I don't know, it was maybe April, I was given the keys to number 9 Magdalene Close, living in 9 Magdalene Street at the time, and then going from one side of the road to the other where this 9 Magdalene Close was, with this